Hello, Pumpkin.
Hi, honey.
What you doing?
I just finished my first draft of my TEDx talk. So I finished it last Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been going through it, and I've been like making edits and grammar corrections and making sure that it's readable. And I just sent it out to my coach.
Oh, well, how's the process been for you?
This has been hard because I've had to relive certain things. I've overcome a lot and I've healed from a lot, but reliving meaning I've had to go back and deal with those same emotions that I had before, and seeing how far God has brought me has brought a lot of tears to my eyes in the best way possible. I'm also going through a lot with work, so this has kind of been like my outlet and my way of keeping my promise to God that when I became a recruiter, I would never forget my first passion, which is the candidate experience. So never forgetting what it feels like to be a candidate. My passion for motivational speaking and spoken word. And so I think this has been my way of keeping my promise because of all the success I've had at being a recruiter. A lot of people don't see how much I put my job on the line to make sure that I am following what God has called me to do. And while others may not understand, I just want God to be pleased all the time.
Yeah. Like reliving those moments, do you think you feel stronger, the same, or still working on building the strength up?
I think I feel stronger, but I also think I'm still building strength at the same time because this is what I'm going through with this and writing this and really like constantly reading it back to myself and putting it on paper. I'm reading it back to myself after putting it on paper. I think I'm gaining a lot of strength that I didn't have. So I'm working on being stronger. I come off as like hard, so to speak, but at the same time, I think all of us have this space or place of constantly learning and constantly going through certain things so that we can continue to be stronger. And so I think I'm tapping into another area of strength that I haven't had to tap into yet because I'm in a place in my life where there are certain things that I haven't had to experience yet. And so I'm already stronger, but I'm also still tapping into another area of strength and faith that I don't think I've ever had to activate before. And I feel like I'm allowing God to really work out that which is the unknown, which is really hard. It's really hard when I don't think I'm a control freak. I just think that I think any of us as people, no matter if we are believers or not, I think all of us want to know what's going to happen next. I think we all want to know right now in this moment if we're going to be okay, regardless of what we're going through. And we know we're going to be okay, but the feelings and the anxieties behind what we feel, we don't know right now, am I going to be okay the way I want to be okay? And so this has been a journey. And this is the part that a lot of people don't see. You see it, of course, because you see me every day outside of the computer, outside of the events and all of that. But this is the part that people don't see because this is the part where the intimacy between who I am spiritually, who I am emotionally, and who I am as a human can all connect.
I understand. And like speaking of knowing what's next, do you know what's next after your TED Talk, or do you have like Like, do you know what you want to accomplish after this TED Talk? What do you want to get from this TED Talk? Might be 2 questions right there.
Yeah. I'll start with what I want to get from it. I think I myself want to really fully tap into, Shanae, everything is going to be just fine because it has been thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in it, you don't feel it. But you know it, but you don't truly like feel it because you feel the weight that you're carrying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I want to get from having to experience all of this is, like I said before, tapping into another area of faith I haven't had to.
Mm-hmm.
Inspiring people to understand that if you're the oddball out, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you have people coming after you, it's
mm-hmm.
okay,
mm-hmm.
because you must be apparently doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in this space of people just don't understand what you're doing,
mm-hmm.
but you know there is something that you are pregnant with, or
mm-hmm.
something that you were carrying that you know you have to do, whether it's if you're assigned to someone, if you are doing it for yourself. I think it's important for us to learn that as long as it makes sense to you and God,
mm-hmm.
then that's really all that matters. And so that's what I'm kind of learning and getting from all of this
mm-hmm.
as I'm speaking. And I'm also tapping into this idea of what an elephant can look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't say it much more because I want people to hear it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want people to tap into what an elephant can look like, what feeling like the oddball out can look and feel like, and the beauty that is behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I'm going under the radar a bit to really take this in and edit and memorize, because this is an area of creative writing I haven't had to tap into either. Mm-hmm. I am genuinely concentrating on God just being pleased, and we all know that in wanting God to be pleased, there is an area of, Lord, I'm preaching to myself. There is an area of comfort. There's an area of security. What man thinks is security, what I may think is security, that we may have to give up. But we also, our faith still tells us that in spite of you feeling like you're having to sacrifice certain things that you love and you adore, God is so faithful. Mm-hmm. And everything is going to be fine regardless of how you feel in the moment.
Yeah. And when you said speaking to yourself, or preaching to the choir in a way,
yeah.
What would you tell yourself if you saw yourself 5 years, like 5 years ago? What would you tell yourself? And what would 5 years from now, what would you think you would tell? What would 5 years from now tell you right now? What would you think?
So what would my later self 5 years from now tell me right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever realized. I don't think I've ever thought about that, because we're always asked, what would you tell your younger self?
Mm-hmm.
I think 5 years from now, my almost 40-year-old self would tell my almost 35-year-old self that I'm glad you kept going. Because this has been hard. This has been really hard. And this has been hard because I do feel like every time I cry about the things I'm going through now, I'm learning that every single time a tear drops from my face, I am watering my own garden. So I can tell somebody else that there is something on the other side that you don't see. But in order to see that, you have to get through right now. And even with tears in your eyes, you have to get dressed with tears in your eyes sometimes. You have to go to work with tears in your eyes. You have to produce and deliver with tears in your eyes. And it doesn't mean that you don't take breaks. It doesn't mean that you don't relax yourself along the way. It just means that, girl, you may be crying, but get up. So what my almost 40-year-old self would tell my almost 35-year-old self is, you have more courage than you think you do. I won't say I'm stronger than I think I am, because I'm pretty confident in my strength. But she would tell me, your courage is to be admired, because you have courage in areas you never knew you had courage in. And you stand up for what you believe in spite of how you're viewed. And for me, I genuinely believe that standing up for myself is something I get from my grandmother, my mom, and my aunt, because they are women who constantly have always stood up for themselves, in spite of, having times where I think any woman at a certain point lets things go until we are tired. There are also times, though, that when we get tired, it is time for us to stop breaking, and it is time for us to stop bending. And right now, God is teaching me. He already taught me how not to break. Now he's teaching me not to bend either. So, I'm excited about this. I'm not nervous. It's interesting. I hope I don't forget. I hope I don't forget it when I'm on stage. I won't. I know I won't. But because all I'm gonna do is activate the poetic side of myself. But I'm excited about this, because this is my storytelling side. That honestly, because I've been so focused on recruiting that I actually forgot I had. So I'm glad that I'm doing it, because Danita always tells me, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's a muscle that you have to exercise. And so I'm glad I'm doing this.
Yeah, me too. Proud of you.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome. Pound it.
Pound it, pound it, pound it.
That's right.